I am bringing back the player review series from 10,000 GP cheap players all the way to legendary superstars and standard card. In this video, I'm going to talk about player status in general. It's more of like a universal player review. And in an upcoming series about player reviews, we're going to review individual players, like the best players from 50k to 100 for each position. We're going to crack on that one. But first, you have to understand each player ability, especially when you train your players. Now, right here, of course, we have player status. Now, it varies from an outfield player to a defensive player and so on. What is important here, of course, you can pause this and read. There's no point for me to explain. I think it explains everything here. What you need to understand, dribbling. Dribbling stands for how good the player is controlling the ball while on full speed. So I'm going to talk about a combination. If a player has high speed, anything below 70, it's low. 70 to 80, medium. 80 plus, 80 to below 90, I would say high. 90 plus, that's super high. So ideally, when you train a player, you want to focus on important key abilities for that particular position to be minimum 80. For instance, Haaland lacks balance. I tried to make his balance at least 70, but it's kind of impossible because you still need to make him fast. You still need to give him ball control. And it's also important that if a player doesn't have a decent ball control and tight position, you don't want to give him complicated balls. Somebody like Lukaku, for instance. Again, it all depends how you level up a player. Offense awareness is important, especially when we don't have trigger runs. If a winger's offense awareness is like below 80, most of the time he's just lurking in the center of the pitch. But again, the momentum is so weird in this game. Like, your players act very different based on you conceded a goal or you scored the goal. Their aggression, their awareness, like most of the time my defenders just block passing lanes for me, especially when I'm on the lead most of the time. So you have to pay attention to these type of games where you feel like your team is just dead, the AI is dead, you're not getting any help. And you have to be good enough to overcome these dynamic difficulties in a way. That's another video, we're going to talk about it. Now, when it comes to tight position, is very important for me. If a player doesn't have high dribbling or tight position, he's not going to be used as an attacking midfield or winger or striker, in my opinion. Fourth striker is reasonable. Let's say a target man. Most of the time, they're just big guys with high physicality. They lack balance as well. So you have to understand your players. Not every player, not every striker is Mbappe, and not every striker is, let's say, if you have somebody tall and strong or a target man. So use players based on their ability, and that way you'll understand your players better. For them, weak for accuracy, their balance, their physical contact. Also, when it comes to balance and physical contact, it's like these two fight each other. Higher physical contact can dominate low balance, and high balance can dominate low physical contact. Balance is important, of course, as well for your outfield players, because most of the time you tackle them, they don't lose balance easily. Defenders do lack balance most of the time, and when it comes to defenders, even Van Dijk's balance is pretty low, so you don't want to do anything complicated with them. And for your defensive players, if you want to make a player more defensive-minded, let's say you have a midfielder. For example, I made Goretzka more defensive-minded. I gave him more defensive awareness, aggression, and tackling. A little bit of a defensive engagement as well. So it all depends how you want to level up a particular player. There are more center midfielders tend to be more attacking-minded box-to-box players. And when it comes to the combination, ball control, dribbling, tight position, balance. Those four is really important for your outfield players. Attacking midfielders, wingers. For strikers, very difficult to give a player high ball control, dribbling, tight position, speed, acceleration, balance. It just depends how many progression points you get for that particular player. So as long as you understand what these abilities stands for, so when you get a new player or when you compare a player to another player, then you'll understand what these ability stands for. And it all depends, of course, on your squad build, the type of player you are using, your playing style. We got 5 playing styles, spoke about it in the video. And of course, your personal playing style as well. Your tempo, your algorithm, how fast do you play, how slow do you play. Ideally, for me, if I use position game, I like to have at least 4 to 5 players with high tight position. Tight position is mainly important. It's like more of an agility, low speed. So there is no point having a player with 90 plus speed but dribbling below 80, because he's not going to be that good to run with the ball full speed and take turns and make a full stop in a way. And also acceleration is important. How good a player will be able to reach his top run and speed. For center backs is important as well, especially if you play quick counter. With quick counter, you're as soon as you lose the ball, your entire team just presses aggressively. Again, it's difficult to make a center back have 4 important defensive attributes, plus speed, plus acceleration. So you have to be careful with what you do with certain center backs. Ideally, you want to have a tall and strong center back. If he's slow, then he needs to have high defensive work. If all his defensive work are 80, below 85, then he has to be at least 80 plus speed, 80 plus acceleration, in my opinion. These kind of stuff will work in a wrong run. Like, I'm not saying all your defenders need to be fast. You may dominate, you may even reach Division 1 with it. But there are important games you play against players better than you. Everything advice I'm giving is general, something that will help you in the long run. So as long as you understand these player abilities, in upcoming episodes, we're going to review players from cheap 10k GP players, basically for each position the best possible. For example, instead of spending 100,000 of GP for anchorman, let's say Fabinho from Liverpool or Casemiro, you can get Barrios, which he's pretty decent. I think he goes for like what, 30, 40k, something like that. And also you have to pay attention to player form. If a player forms and Weaver, and that means he will less likely to be in a down arrow. You know, the form arrows from up, sideways, down, all the way down. And when it comes to weak foot accuracy, something to pay attention to as well. If you have a player who's right-footed and you're using him on the right, obviously his right foot is going to be on the outside of the pitch. You don't want that. But pay attention. If he has outside curler skill, then it should be all right. So you have to pay attention and understand your players, their weak foot accuracy, and if they have certain skills that they can finish using the outside curler, which is the outside of your foot. Boom. When it comes to goalkeepers, I have experimented with goalkeepers a lot. I thought all I need to do focus on GK awareness, make the attribute the highest. But I have to say, after training so many different players, from cheap goalkeepers, young goalkeepers to superstars, and I had some advice from the live stream as well, I tend to focus on making reach and reflexes the highest. Like if I train a superstar goalkeeper, I'll make sure his reflex and reach, they're 85 plus. And either reflex or reach has to be 90. Like balance, it's not been working out well when I train players. You have to give him something that he's good with. You have to give him something that kind of stands out. So if you are training goalkeepers, if you focus on reflex and reach, if you train them that way, comment down below, let me know. Or what kind of method of you training goalkeepers so far has been working for you. Again, it depends on the goalkeeper, whether he's defensive, offensive, how tall he is. That plays a big factor. It seems like big goalkeepers with high reach seems to be the thing. I personally like players with high aggression from defense. Any defensive-minded player I like with high aggression. Because I don't like defending too deep, and I certainly don't like to be too conservative and passive. That doesn't mean I want to commit, carelessly just commit to the player on the ball and give out spaces. Sometimes you got to take the risk, right? It pays off, it doesn't pay off. So each player ability here, it's important for you to pay attention to. As I said, there's no point for you to have a fast player with high speed with low dribbling, and high speed with low acceleration. It will work, but again, speed, acceleration, ball control, tight position, and dribbling, these are very important for your attacking midfield, wingers, strikers, and when it comes to defenders, there are 4 attributes you need to focus on. And then you want to focus on, I think, physical contact. The game, it's like physicality doesn't even exist. Most of the time, Insigne can push Patrick Vieira off the ball. So, the game changes a lot, and it has so much, and I mean so much, to be fixed. Anyway, hope you find the video useful. You can show some support by simply sharing the video, like, and subscribe. Till next time, ciao for now.